So I, as many of you may have been doing lately, now that there's more time at home and more time to reflect on all that's sitting on the DVR, have been watching a lot of things that TCM has been running, Turner Classic Movies on cable. And they have themes, they have themed days, they have themed months, they have themed hours of the day. And one of the ones we've been enjoying is a theme of New York City set films from the 1970s. And the first of which I watched of these was a film from 1978 starring Harvey Keitel, directed by James Toback, called Fingers. It's a movie that I've heard of, but I'd never seen. I think I had read a Video Watchdog article about it many moons ago. And it's kind of an unusual movie. Fingers is about Harvey Keitel as this young New York City, obviously, pianist or hopeful concert pianist. And when we first meet him, he's practicing furiously a very complicated piece on the piano. Then he goes to meet his father, played by Michael Gazzo, who you may recognize from the Godfather films or a million other movies from the 70s and 80s. And his father is a loan shark. So we find out that Fingers wants to be a concert pianist, but his bread and butter really is being a collector for his father. So there's this balance between this guy who wants to escape the rough and tumble criminal world and move way up in culture by being a pianist, but what he's really good at is shaking people down for money. So the film kind of goes back and forth between those two worlds. What he has to do and what he wants to do. Is he good enough to do what he wants to do? We know he's good enough to do what he has to do. And it's shot entirely on location in New York, probably around 1977. And it's just a treasure of a snapshot of that time and place, gritty as it was. And this is one of those films where damn near every face you see in this film it's either somebody who really was from there at the time and is very authentic, or it's a face that you recognize from other films from this era or later. You see probably half the bit players in The Godfather work their way into this movie. You see a young, am I thinking of the right movie? No, I'm not. You see a young... Well, you see a lot of young people. Let's just put it that way. I might be thinking of something else we watched the other day. At any rate, it's very violent. It's very salacious. You see a probably pre-framed Tanya Roberts in a scene she may have regretted later. You see the man who played Paulie Walnuts on The Sopranos playing a vaguely similar character. And it's very interesting. It's a very artful film in that not a lot of the character motivations make sense. Keitel's character is very strange, quite probably mentally ill, very violent when he needs to be, aggressively sexual when he needs to be. You kind of watch the movie thinking that he's trying to make up for something. There's a scene early on that I won't go into many details, but there's a scene early on when he's talking to his father and he exchanges looks with some people in a bar, and it makes you wonder where he's really at. It's not a film for everybody because it has these strange vibes to it, but if you like film and TV, and you enjoy seeing people sort of before they were famous, this is loaded with that. If you like old New York, this is an ideal film to see that. And if you like Keitel giving a very unique performance of a very unique character, Fingers certainly has that. Now, we saw this on TCM. There is such a thing as the Watch TCM app, which is basically, it's like HBO Go or HBO Now, where if you're a subscriber, you can get this app and basically watch everything that's on that month or even longer than that on demand. So if you missed the broadcast and you have TCM and cable and you get the TCM or Watch TCM app, you can watch this today. This is also available on disc. It's available it's Blu-ray from Kino, so it's out there now. And I would recommend Fingers. It's a very, very unique experience. You don't quite know where the story or the character is going to go. You get surprises like seeing Jim Brown in a film, in a scene you wouldn't expect to see Jim Brown in. And yeah, it's a movie that sort of has stuck with me. So I would say if you have a little bit of time and you want to take a step back to 1978 New York City, Fingers is a good way to go.